Okay, so a few next steps. I'll share with you some best practices that a lot of companies have been using for their QR codes. Best practice number one, be mindful of your layout. QR codes are sensitive to borders and elements that may disable access. What do I mean by that? So, for example, the borders must not pass through the QR code, neither do the elements are attached to some elements of the QR code. So the one on the left, that's a big no-no. There is a chance that the QR code might not be scanned. Okay? What you want is like the one to the right. If you need to put a border, make it outside the real estate of the QR code. So that's the first one. The second one, if your poster is multicolored, stick to a black and white motif to make them stand out. Because imagine if, let's say, you're doing a webinar poster. So many colors involved. If your QR code is also colored, it might not be easily visible. So a QR code is expected to be black and white most of the time. So it covers the expectations of your audience. So stick to that. If you really want to put some fancy color, use a lighter one. So if you look at the examples here, the ones on the right, the one on the right, the one with the black and blue background should be fine. I still prefer, however, a black and white, because that's already installed in our minds. Most people, when you think of a QR code, it's black and white. So follow that convention. Number three, unless your QR code was generated with an encrypted illustration, meaning premium QR code generators ask you for around 500 pesos or 1,000 pesos per month in exchange for being able to make some cooler layouts. If you're doing a foreign element embedded into the QR code manually, it will not be read. I'll give you an example. So you see this QR code. This is plain and simple. It's a very vanilla, it's a plain vanilla QR code. Let's say I wanted to be, I want to stretch and say, maybe it's nicer if I put my company's logo. So I cut and paste my company logo. That's the logo of JY Consultancy and Ventures. And then I placed it there. Likely, because it is covering some parts of the QR code, it will not be scanned. So any modification on your QR code will be unreadable. Even a small strip of black, so let's say a black color covered some parts of it, it won't be readable at all. So unless you have a QR code generator that allows you to create one, don't modify the QR code. Here's another example. Premium and paid accounts. So this is the one that makes you pay 500 pesos. There are companies that allow you to embed. What you do is that you give them the link, you give them the logo, and then after a few seconds, they will generate a QR code with your logo embedded on it. So here's an example of 7-Eleven and Nescafe, right? So some people will think, I'll just generate the QR code, I'll put my logo there, and bam, done. Doesn't work that way. There needs to be a special embedding and encryption coming from the QR code generator platform. Okay. May I get an exclamation mark if that is clear so far? And yes, I highly encourage this. If you think that it's more engaging and there's better brand recall if you put your logo into the QR code, why not? If you want to put some text on it, why not? Go for it also. Okay, let's proceed. Very good, thank you. So more exclamation marks if you're learning something better. We appreciate. Tip number 2, add a CTA to your QR code. Before I proceed, if you are listening to some of our past webinars on social media, can you tell me what CTA stands for again? CTA stands for, what are the initials stand for? Very good. So it stands for call to action. Call to action means that you are asking the customer to do something. Buy now in our store. Call this phone number. Pay via BPI. Scan via GCash. Get 50% off by using the promo code. So call to action is literally you're calling someone to do something, to avail of the product, to avail of the service. Thank you, Jaiza, and thank you, Mika, for answering that question. So why is it important to put a CTA when it's expected, when it's basic? Well, you might be educated, but some people don't know what QR codes are. So many people still don't know what to do when they see a QR code. Make it clearer for them. And then number 2, give them a preview of what they will get from making the effort to scan. Remember, scanning a QR code may sound easy, but for some people, it's troublesome. It's still gonna make them take out their phone, from their pocket, go to the photo, connect to the internet, check the camera, scan it. So for some people, it's still an effort. They will be enticed to scan if they know if the effort is going to be worth it. So say it. Scan to get the promo. Scan to avail of the discount. Scan to download the file. Scan to register. Can I get an exclamation mark if that's clear? I hope it is. So that's your call to action. So let's give a few examples of what do I mean. So here's an example of a call to action. View PDF. Scan me. It sounds stupid, but promise guys, not everyone knows what to do when they see this photo. So when you make it clear for people, it prompts them to do something about it. Here's another example. Register now. Here's something that I got from the municipality of Bataan. Or is this, yeah, the province of Bataan. So it's a contact tracing form to register. So you're giving them a call to action. Another example, this is Starbucks in Malaysia. Scan to redeem 5 ringgit coupon. 5 ringgit is around 50 pesos. Okay. So now I get prompted because I know what I will get out of it. Another example is get 50 peso off when you gas up at Sea Oil from GCash. So scan. Okay. It's interesting to make some surprise scanning. That can be another motive, but sometimes it's only worth the effort if you know what's gonna be at the end of the tunnel. So make it clear for them. Give them call to action. Okay? So here's another example of that. This is the surprise part. This is from SM. So here's where scan the QR code to avail food promos from participating stores upon ordering via drive-through and pickup service. So because QR codes are dynamic meaning today the content of the code may be this, tomorrow it might change. You can change the QR code's content because they are not dependent on the QR code. They're dependent on the Google Drive, the Google form. So today, if I edit the Google form, I added 5 more questions. Someone who scanned the QR code will now see the revised version of the contact tracing form. Today, the coupon is 50% off to my gadgets. Tomorrow, when I scan it, that 50% can be 70% or it's for another product. That can happen as long as you change the URL. So in this case, you might want to update the photo, update the PDF, update the Microsoft Word, etc. Okay? So e-coupon surprise, they're not as common in the industry, but they can be exciting because there's the element of surprise, there's the element of mystery.